When the Ministry of Education presented its budget estimate to the Education Committee of the National Assembly, they did not factor in money to be taken to NEC for CAPSEA and KCSE. I remember Honorable Meli, the minister, not the chairman of the Education Committee in the National Assembly, telling them that if they will not include in funds for CAPSEA and KCSE, then they'll not get anything in their budget. The Education Committee in the National Assembly will hold to the last cent all its budget. That was very good for Mheshimiwa Meli. And once again, I'm shocked. I'm shocked by the RUTO government, and especially RUTO himself. The way he's running his government is very wrong. It's very wrong. And he has to be told. He has to be told, especially by somebody whom people have branded to be a pro-RUTO. Mheshimiwa Rais, you are saved when you are saved even before you are born again, even before you started putting on your shoes. So I request you, and also being a son to a peasant, I beg you, not even request, I beg you to have mercy on children of peasants. For one day when I and you will not be there, a son or daughter of a peasant will occupy the State House. Please, don't make it be that you are the first, last, and the only child of a peasant to occupy State House. I beg you. Now let me talk about school funding, especially matters of. I just want to cover two things. I want to cover the first thing I want to cover is matters to do with the university funding model. And second, I want to cover issue to do with the government not giving out money for CAPSEA and KCSE. It is very much unwise for the government. It is good that Honorable Mary has said that if the Ministry of Education does not come up with a budget for CAPSEA and KCSE, then they will reject the whole. I think in some other places would have said merely for president. That is the way we should be going. And that is the best way, the godly way. But the way we are going, tunachezewa karata. Allow me to start by saying how things have evolved. For example, we used to stay with these kerosene lamps. We used to stay with these kerosene lamps. And when we used to stay with these kerosene lamps, things have changed. Vitu vichenjanga. Almost everybody now is in a house that either uses solar or uses electricity. Now, can you tell me how that person would feel if you move that person from using electricity and take him or her back to the Koroboi days? Kerosene lamp. That is what RUTO and his government are doing. But allow me to talk about examination fee from my time. I do not know about examination fee before my time. I do not think that the primary certificate we paid for it. I don't think. Because I remember I was there even before Moi came out with the free education. So we used to, not even Moi, Jomo Kenyatta is the one who came up with free primary school education. Jomo Kenyatta had planned that if things would have gone the way he was planning and if he would have lived longer, Jomo Kenyatta in 1973, or is it 1974, he said that standard 1 up to standard 4 were not to pay even a single cent in education. Then the following year, standard 5 did not pay fees. So they continued that way. The intention of Jomo Kenyatta was that that class would continue up to university without paying fees. But then he died, and then later Moi came up with free primary education, which let me not go there because it was free, but things came up like a building fund, whereby you'd spend 20, you'd be a member of the school parents teachers association for 20 years, and the students would be paying building fund, and not even a kiosk could be built for those 20 years. That is Moi for you. But let me not veer off. You know, as you get old, it is quite normal for you to veer off a topic. And when I'm with people around, they correct me. But when I'm recording, it is hard to correct me. So during my time in Form 1 to Form 4, remember my Form 4 certificate was East African Certificate of Education. Now we used to have something called East African Examination Council, which was replaced by NEC. For your information, Kenya National Examination Council started in 1980. Up to today. Eh? Na hujatuma ka 50 kwa hiyo pay bill for that information. So it started in 1980. Before 1980, 1979 backward, we used to have East African Examination Council. The Jomo Kenyatta government realized that examination fee for Form 4 was a lot to most peasants. So what used to happen is that once you join Form 1, whenever you used to pay school fees, you could pay something small which was written examination fees. These examination fees, it was seen that the money for you to pay East African Examination Council, the amount you are to pay for them, and the amount you are to pay, the amount you are to pay for them holistically was so much for most parents. So it was divided into 16 equal parts. Every term, when you paid fees, you could pay, is it half of a quarter or a quarter of a half? That is 1/16 of, okay, let's take today, for example, let us assume that exam fee today is 800. Or can I say 16,000? Okay, let us say 16,000, yeah. So what they would do is that when you join Form 1, you paid 1,000. And then Form 4 third term, you pay 1,000. So in total, you are paid 16,000. They felt that you paying third term Form 4 plus 16,000 was a bit expensive. So they divided it. I think I am clear there. That is what Jomo Kenyatta did. And that is what Moi followed. But when it came to Form 5 and Form 6, it was a bit different. My friend from 5 and 6, initially those who were from 5 and 6 ahead of us, did not pay even a single cent during the 2 years. Why? Because the government was encouraging people for higher education, so they were going for free education for Form 5 and Form 6. But during my time, we paid. I remember I paid 2,000 shillings for my Form 5 and Form 6, which means in Form 5, I paid 1,000 shillings. By then, it used to be a lot of money, isn't it? Form 6, 1,000 shillings. But that amount, the 2,000 shillings, included everything. It included 2 pairs of uniform and a blazer, no sweater. There was no sweater. It was just two long trousers, 2 shirts, 2 long sleeve shirts, and a blazer. It also included boarding fees. It included boarding fees, whereby and also tuition fee and examination fee and everything. So in Form 5 and 6, because it was a short time, remember Form 5 and 6 used to go for strictly 4 terms. Because in Form 5, you studied in second term and third term. Form 6, first term and second term. Because third term was for revision and examination. Remember, examination those years used to go for 1 month. Even right now, I think Form 4, they go for 1 month. Now, for 1 month and you are there for 3 months, it means that the 2 months basically were for revision. The 2 months were basically for revision. I don't know why I think most of it, if not all, most of the 844s, if not all, did not pay anything that is called examination fee. Either all of them or most of them. And if it is not all of them, then over 90% of 844, I'm sure, the government paid the fees. Not the fees, the exam fees. Most of them, if not all. But whatever it is, somehow the government started paying for exam fees for Form 4. Now, RUTO government, remember I said RUTO government. I didn't say RUTO's government. There was a dash there. Because if there is anybody to blame for any wrongs now in the RUTO government, it is RUTO himself. He has 85% of the blame. Actually, 15% are these people who work under him, who come to clean the dirt that he has left. Now, RUTO government has not allocated funds for what? It has not allocated funds for NEC. And you see, NEC has to get funds from somewhere. It means that we are now approaching June. It means that in the 4 months, if mail is issued, thread does not work, it means that in 4 months, parents have got to look for funds. Parents have got to go to look for examination fees. That is why I said that RUTO is taking us back to the Koroboi days when we are now used to fluorescent electricity. Please, Mr. President, especially, if this thing was coming from a person like Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we would have understood. Because Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, uh, I don't think he has ever gone to school on barefoot. I don't think Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has slept on an empty stomach, unless he's fasting. Some of us, uh, we were okay. I'm not among them. By the way, me, I'm a dynasty, because of being a son of where I was born when my father was an inspector of police. The year my father became an inspector of police is when I was born. And those years, when Kenya was getting independence, being an inspector of police was But I'm saying most of us have really gone through hard time. And Ruto himself has gone through that hard time. So he's the last person to do what we would have expected a person like Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to do. Then we go to the university funding. When we go to university funding, um, university has a problem. University has a problem. The government should sit down and think about university problem. I tell you, the best way is for the government to sit down, understand how much the university needs. Let's say 200 billion. Then the government should take over that debt of 200 billion or whatever the figure is and do with it. You see, the government does not want to pay for whatever money, which I'm calling 200 billion. So it is trying to force students, to pay for that shortfall. That is when we are being cheated. We are being cheated that the university has come up with a grand plan. The university has come up with a grand plan where it is a student-based paying system. But this is a very clever way. I've already recorded that on that. But then it is a clever way of cheating people into clearing that whatever. But if you force people who do not have money, or even we are having a situation where I think you have come across a situation where people with a B plus, so people with a B plus, they are refusing to go to university and applying for TVET because in TVET they want to be artisans, and then with their artisan money they can pay for their own university for education. Why are you doing this, Mr. President? You got saved before you started putting on shoes. You should be mindful of peasant children, especially you, son of a peasant. Now, a very simple question I want to ask. Let us just pick any student, like those who are doing the old model. Because according to RUTO, this is a student-based funding model. Now look at, just pick randomly any student using the old system. Look at him or her. How much does he or she pay per semester or even per academic year? Then go to the improved. I'm saying improved with in quotes. Ask yourself, how much is a student paying? You know, these students are in the same university because when the new model student was in first year, the one who was second year and even third year and fourth year, they were using the old. They ask each other. They ask each other, uh, how much are you paying? How much are you paying for fees? They compare. This thing is not top secret. Hmm? And then I want to ask President Ruto. We have a problem. School funding model is based on the parents' pocket. Today, bursary, during my time, bursary used to be allocated to schools, board of governors, which today is called board of management. For every, they had a formula. The time when I was doing my Form 6, it used to be 10%. 10% of school fees needed in a school was given to the board of management, whereby the secretary of, it started off like this. Kindly, when you go to school and find teachers taking 10 o'clock tea and 4 o'clock tea, don't just say, oh, these are good job where you get free. No, that is when the teachers discuss. During that time, teachers can discuss. You find that one teacher of one subject says, do you know the student called JI-TENGE? Yeah. Patenge is very bright in my subject. He's also bright in my subject. Then it is like they are arguing which subject the student appears to be good in all subjects. But then he's having a problem paying fees. Then when the teachers discuss that, they pass the information to the principal. Nowadays they call them principal, but during my time they used to be called head teachers. The principal, being the secretary of BOM, would then forward the issue to the BOM. He would say, a student called so and so is in this class and he has a problem. Then the BOM sits down and decides to. Nowadays, these things are given to politicians, which they use to advance whatever. Now, what happens is this. When the student, okay, first of all, students are given bursaries depending on their parents. For example, if your parent is that kind of a person who does not believe in politics and he or she has not registered as a voter, then you don't get bursary. So you don't get bursary on mistakes, can I call them mistakes, or religious beliefs of your parent or guardian. You are being punished for somebody else's mistakes. Two, you can only get bursary where your parent or guardian is registered as a voter. For example, if your parent or guardian is registered in a city, in a city constituency, you get 5,000. If your parent or guardian is registered as a voter in a place like Wajir South, Habaswe, you are given bursary which will pay everything na zingine zibaki, such that every year you get a new pair of uniform. You get a new pair of uniform because whatever has been given surpasses your. Why should it be like that? And then in the university funding model, first of all, that is a con game. Mr. President, there is no others. I respect you and I respect your position. But in as much as I respect you and I respect your position, I find no other word to use than the word con game. Why should you double school fees for university and cheat everybody around that the amount has been reduced? You double it and cheat us that it is half. Two, why should students funding model be based on their parents' pockets? Remember, you are encouraging, if you don't know, Kenyans are very funny. If today, let me give you an example. Today, when people are paying, students are getting 5,000 or 6,000 shillings as bursary, the parent would go there, line up the whole day, get the form, go to the, like when my kids used to be schooling in a certain distance, I would get the forms, the whole day I spent there, get the forms, go to Easy Coach, send the forms by parcel to where my boys used to study. Then the school sends the fee structure at my expense because they'll send me back the fee structure as a parcel. Then I'll take it to the CDF office, get the check, then send again with a parcel. You'll find that the 6,000, if you consider everything, I don't want to go into particulars, but if you consider all those things, I'll have spent even 2,000. Now, in reality, is that I'll have been paid 4,000. Why should there be a uniform fees bursary for secondary school? During my time, as I said, BOG, which today is called BOM, used to sit down and deliberate and decide. They used to sit down and deliberate and decide, and they used to say that this student, the way we see him or her, the parents can afford a quarter, so let us pay 3 quarters. There are those students whom they would say the parents can afford nothing, they pay everything. How comes that you decide that each and every student is gets 6,000? In that case, why don't you reduce the school fees countrywide by 6,000 so that you don't even disturb yourself going to apply everything and whatever? Because everybody who applies gets 6,000. Why don't we say that all the countrywide, every student, the government pays 6,000? And so if a student's fees is, let's say 30,000, the student is asked to pay 24. Back to the this university funding model. Uh, I said that Kenyans are very funny. They can go an extra mile just to not to show the government that they have money. I've given an example of a parent going to the CDF to fill in the forms, sending to Easy Coach, to whatever, parcel, whatever. Now, every parent will claim to be poor, to avoid taxation, to avoid whatever. So if you are telling the students to apply and say if their parents are poor or rich, a lot of parents will hide and pretend to be poor for various reasons that I don't want to waste my viewers' bundles. You are punishing somebody for being rich because you are telling somebody that if you are rich and your child goes to the university, then you pay more. Why can't it be an agreement between, irrespective of whether the child is from a poor family or a rich family? It will soon be. I was seconded to Chepkoilel, which today is called Eldoret University, and during those days, that is the 1990 when they were changing, 1991 when they were changing from 844 to from 763 to 844. There used to be a time when they would say that in lecture room number 7, we have Bachelor of Forestry, A levels. And the other room, we have, let's say they say that in a certain lecture room, we are having a Bachelor of Forestry, A level year 1. And another one, they would say, another lecture room, Bachelor of Forestry, Form 4. And you would find these people, both of them were first years. But those who were in Form 6, used to work with air. They would tell the Form 4 that you are first year like me, but you are inferior. You are inferior. So, are you trying to tell us that these students, when they are in the university, they'll tell each other that yes, I am a bachelor's degree in this and that, the same as you, but mine is not a beggar's degree because you went with a bowl and begging the government that I come from a poor family. If matters go to the worst, why don't you pay those fees to the university and then sign up? These kids are okay. My son, one of my sons joined the university when he was 16 years old. So if case is that is a bit understandable, but most of the kids in the university are adults with IDs. Why don't you enter into an agreement with them that you fund for it, and then when they graduate, they pay for. Actually, they would even value the degrees because they sweated for it. You can see Gen C were educated freely and they have a lot of entitlement. They think that they are entitled to free things. Why don't you agree with the students to do that? But this thing of uh, parents' pocket-based funding model is very bad. Lastly, I would tell the president, kindly desist from this thing of talking one thing on a car rooftop, but when you go to the wanasema kwa ground things ni different. Please, you got saved, as I said, before you put on your shoes.